and loans are not being. I have to check. Loans might be able to be accepted on those by now, but you'll have to dig in to get a few more details on those. But don't miss out. So townhomes are the affordable way of living here in Juneau. They're great starter homes. They're townhomes that are 2 bedrooms all the way up to 4 bedrooms. We have 5 townhomes on the market. Again, this is rare. In the summertime, if a townhome came on the market, it was off the market, lickety-split, because it's affordable housing, right? Once you jump up into single-family homes, the prices skyrocket, right? So, surprisingly, we have 24 single-family homes on the market right now. So here's the thing. In the summertime, everybody was trying to buy. They're like, I gotta get it. And that's what drove the prices up. Just that old thing of, supply and demand, right? That tug of war of supply and demand. So now we have a supply, but the demand has gone down. So my advice to you, if you're thinking about buying this year or anytime in the near future, shop now. Shop while the competition is low. Because let me tell you, when spring rolls around, it's going to be rough again. So just what I heard from my sources is that the interest rates are going to go up come 2022. So you want to invest now because you're going to be up against higher interest rates, which means the cost of borrowing is going to be higher. In addition, you're going to be dealing with inflation. So it's just going to be more difficult to purchase in the future. And right now, I don't know what it's going to be like in the future. Right now, we're having a problem with supply and demand for new construction, right? These people who are building homes can't get the wood that's required to build a house. So our new construction is slowing down as well. So we're looking at being able to purchase what is right in front of us, already built houses. So my advice to you, if you're thinking about buying, do it now. Do not wait. Okay, so after I'm done with my big speech, and I'm about ready for my first guest. Are you ready? Yeah? Okay. So my first guest is Bradley Perkins. He is the producer of Juneau Live Studio. I'm really happy to welcome Mr. Bradley Perkins. Hi, Bradley.
Hi, Erica. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So something interesting about Brad is that he has purchased and sold many houses in his lifetime. How many homes do you think you've
at least 5 or 6. Partly because I've moved a lot over the years. I have lived. Pastor Karen and I have lived. Pastor Karen's my second wife named Karen.
Wait a second. So your first wife was named Karen as well?
Karen, yes, Karen S. Perkins.
Okay.
And 2 Karen S. Perkinses. My first wife passed away in '99 from a pulmonary embolism. We've been, the second Karen and I've been trading off being trailing spouse, and I have lived all over the place. So I've had houses in Silicon Valley,
okay,
almost probably more expensive than Juneau. Also houses in Las Vegas, okay, not as expensive, and also in Hawaii,
right,
including a house on the ocean in Hawaii, although on the poor side of Hawaii. So. Over the years, I picked up tips in buying and selling homes, including my wife was, she was sort of an architect. She was an architectural designer. She had a degree from Purdue, where she met my father. And so, but she had some tricks. She was also an interior decorator. So I learned some tips.
Yeah, we love interior decoration.
Yeah. And so she was a designer she helped design a lot of the homes that were around the Bay Area when she was designing homes for him. He was a developer, and then she was an architect for Alfred Taubman, who was the mall magnate, who was kind of the original designer of the malls, of shopping malls.
Oh, wow.
And so she helped design a lot of the look and feel of malls.
So she was a high-end designer.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
like I said, then was that. So some of the tips that I can give you that I learned over the years in selling homes.
Yes.
That you talked about it last week when we did the QA session of your show. Some things you can do when you're either prepping a house or even when you're living in a house is that she taught me is one. Don't paint rooms wild colors. If you're living in a house, just if you want to decorate with pillows, drapes, things like that you can take with you or whatever else, right? But paint things Navajo white. Or some version.
Or neutral.
Neutral.
A neutral. And that could be gray. Gray is in right now.
That's fine too. That's fine too. But we always painted houses in some neutral color, and that way when you leave, it's easy enough. You don't have to repaint things. Wild colors in the house. Same thing with carpet. Put in, carpets. Now, white carpet, problem keeping it clean, but pick some sort of neutral carpets. Again, decorate with things that can go with you when you do things like that.
Yeah.
So those are, go ahead.
And new carpet just can do wonders for your home. Something that's really fun is that Home Depot does free installation after you purchase. I think over, $200 worth of carpet, they'll install it for free. It's totally worth it. It will change the vibe and ambience of your home.
Right, but carpet's going out anyway.
It's true.
So right, so and putting in laminate floors have gotten cheaper. They'll last forever. I mean, if your house happens to have hardwood floors under things, revive them, and we did that in a number of houses over the years. But put down laminate floors; they'll last forever. We just put it downstairs in the church, and we've done all kinds of things to it. It will not get damaged. So hardwood floors are better, and then put down area rugs. Again, you can take them with you when you go and things like that. So do that. And obviously, when you're getting ready to put a house on the market, get rid of the tchotchkes, get rid of all of that little stuff out of the house, take down pictures, make the house simple, leave your house counters clean. And actually, I've gotten to the point where we leave them clean all the time anyway. We don't put a lot of stuff on the counters.
Well, you're doing way better than me.
So those are just kind of things, simple things you can do when you're selling a house is just clean your house out because people don't want to get focused on those kind of things. Now,
absolutely.
The other tricks we learned when moving into a house is that once you've been in a house for a couple months, you don't see all the things that you really should fix when you move in a house. So when you move in the house, when you walk around the house and you buy it, note all the things that irritate you right off the bat and fix them right away. For example, change out all the switch plates and wall plates, because I'll guarantee you they're dirty, broken, whatever. They're super cheap to change out, and you get a screwdriver, a power screwdriver, you can get them all changed in an hour, and all the dingy old plates, unless you have a new house. Yeah. But it's really easy to do, and it's like amazing how nice they look. So that's a really quick one to do. These days, when you go into a house, change all the light bulbs to LED. And we did that. We're in a rental right now because we came into town, and we changed them all out anyway. And we're going to leave them with the house. And we haven't changed a light bulb in the 4 years we've been here. And so one, we saved on that. Two, our electric bill in that house went from $200 a month down to $98.
Wow.
By having LEDs.
Just from switching to LEDs?
Right. And so, because
My gosh.
and it had CFLs in it. It had fluorescent lights in it. So another big savings. And plus, we've never had to change light bulb. Now, they are more expensive, but they're coming down also. So change to LEDs.
But you just buy them once every 5 years.
No, you shouldn't have to buy them at all. So here in the church, we turned this into a studio. We changed every light in here from CFLs to LEDs because we needed to do it for that. Saved energy also, and they all match. And also, I'll be honest with you, having a home control system is a really great thing. And so you can change, you can put in, easy enough to do when you move to a house, is change out the wall switches to an Alexa compatible system or whatever else. Alexa, turn off studio lights. And now we're in the dark. Alexa, turn on studio lights.
Oh my
and
gosh.
now we're back on the studio lights.
Oh my
but
goodness.
our whole house is all Alexa controlled. And so, and when you do that, the house can make the house look like we're lived in it. It does everything on there. Of course, when the internet goes out, we're kind of in the dark. Right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I know a lot of people love it, but the AI stuff creeps me out.
but it's not that hard to learn how to do it, and it does make our life kind of cool.
I bet it does.
And you walk around and things happen by themselves. Things get turned off. Our electric blanket turns itself on. gets it ready to go when we go to bed, and
my
it
goodness.
makes life kind of fun. So, but you can change those out when you first move in. Just change the wall switches to automatic control switches. So some little tips and tricks we've learned moving it over the years.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really good to go ahead and get that home ready before you actually move all your junk in.
Yeah.
And even painting the wall. I know you said not vibrant colors, but if you are going to do vibrant colors for when you live in there, that's the time to do it.
Well, or
Yeah.
do all your paint before you get in.
Yes.
These things. I know usually people are out of money because they spent every dollar on the down payment. But if you
Yeah.
can find a way to do it before you move in. It's always easier to get things done before you're actually moved in. And then, because you'll never notice it when you're in there, you'll end up being there all these years. Oh yeah, we should have fixed that. When we leave. So.
Yeah.
Okay, those are my tips and tricks
Well,
from
thank
having
you.
moved many times and lived many places, including Bangkok and all kinds of places over the years.
Well, it sounds like you've had quite a life and lived in very beautiful places.
Oh yeah, we live all over the United States and all that sort of things. So it's been an interesting life. So.
Well, thank you, Brad. Thank you for your tips and tricks. I think it's time for us to bring on our next guest.
Oh, I think don't you want to show your?
I do.
You do the walkthrough we did with the
That's
steady
right.
cam.
That is so right. Thank you.
Beautiful house, by the way.
Yes,
I really enjoyed going to it
It's a
yesterday.
gorgeous house that's about to come up on the market today. So you're seeing it first right here on Juneau's open house. It's located on Ptarmigan, and let's see if we can go ahead and pull it up. Here we go. Gorgeous house. Now this house is built in 1972. You're looking at the entryway right there. It's located on 4234 Ptarmigan. So these sellers listened to all that I said, and they followed all of those tips and tricks. They painted their walls a nice neutral color, so fresh paint throughout the entire house. Huge living room. If you look down, there's brand new carpet throughout the house as well. Okay, so beautiful wood burning stove right there. So what's nice about this house is there's a living room and there's a den. So we're walking into the den right now. So much space in this home. It's 1,686 square feet of living space. Now, something that's really unique about this home is the lot. We have a very large lot right here in the valley, and we're looking at 12,632 square feet for the lot. Huge backyard. You have campfires out there, parties out there, great for entertaining. Have the eatery there, so the dining table will go right there. And again, we get to look into this gigantic backyard. When I went back there, they have a place where you can play horseshoes, throw horseshoes. They have a spot where you chop wood. There's a place for a garden. Plenty of space for a shed if you would like. And we go into the kitchen. You have a little bar there where you can put some bar stools up under there. Nice solid surface countertops. Matching appliances. Take a look at this pantry. Well, first we'll look at the refrigerator. Electric stove there. Everything is really clean in this home. And they really took notes on what to do to prepare their house for the market, for putting it on the market. It's a brand new window there. Cute little pendant light. I really like that pendant light. I love pendant lights above sinks. And there's that nice pantry. Deep pantry. As you can see, you can fit a lot of food in there too. I always love windows right above the sink so you can like look out into the yard while you're doing the dishes. That's where I spend a lot of my time. I do. Right. Going back into that living room. Looks like we get to check out the rest of the house. This stove, I don't know if we got a close up on it, but it is such a beautiful stove. You know, a lot of those stoves that you see, they look all grimy and old. This one is beautiful. It's a dark green color, so hopefully you like dark green. And it's just a really beautiful stove. Here's the main bathroom. It's a full bath. It has a shower and a bathtub in there. Double sinks, his and hers. Plenty of space in this bathroom. Nice window, frosted window for a little bit of privacy so people aren't peeking in on you. And then you have the toilet all the way in the back, which is really nice. You have a little bit of privacy if somebody, you know, busts in your bathroom. As you can tell, I live in a home with children, so that happens to me a lot. So nice to have that kind of privacy. A little bit of a buffer. Okay, heading out to the bathroom and check out our first room. So for a ranch style home, it has nice high ceilings. It has a really open feeling, this house. Great place to raise a family. Nice size rooms. You know, in Juneau, sometimes you get really one big room and then two tiny rooms. Well, all of the rooms have a really nice size. That's the first room there. And they all have decent sized closets as well. So every bit of that 1,686 square feet was well used. So this house was built in 1972, and a lot of times, look at that closet space, isn't that nice? Shelving in there, and a place to, you know, hang your dresses as well. But a lot of times in houses that are built in 1972, you will see the wear and tear in the windows. This house, the windows are dry as a bone. In fact, some of them are brand new. They replaced some windows before they put on the market. Here's the master bedroom. Got a nice view into that gigantic backyard. And nice walk-in closet there. Love the ceilings. Love it. You have cedar ceilings up there. It's just so nice. Great shelving in that walk-in closet. Help you keep everything nice and organized. Swing all the way around to your ensuite bathroom. Brand new floors in that master bath. This one has a shower. And you have a vanity in there. There is enough space in there to put a double vanity in there if that's your heart's desire. But a nice sized master bathroom. Clean, fresh paint, new floors. Very nice. Okay. Take a quick walk through the entire house. As you can see, it's very spacious. And we gotta get, in-person view of this glorious backyard. So beautiful. Usually your lots are just about 10,000 square feet. This one's 12,632 square feet. You have a huge backyard and a nice sized front yard as well. Great for all of your desires. I'm thinking cookout. So this yard is completely fenced in. So if you have any pets or children that you would like to keep caged in, this is the place for you. Such a nice home. And what is really refreshing to see is that they took my notes. I went in there, I was like, okay, you need to paint the walls, change some of the lighting, update, this, update that, and they went for it. They did what they were supposed to do. So this house is fantastic. It's beautiful. It's going on the market today. Do not miss out. The list price is $445,000. Come and get it. If you want to see it, give me a call, Erica Lee. You can find my number below. Below, where is it?
Well, it'll be on your show page, and
Okay.
it'll be on Juneau, JuneauLive.org, and you have your own page on there, and it'll be on the episode page also.
There you go. You can find it. I believe in you. Okay? So I am ready to introduce our next guest. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you for being here with us.
It's my pleasure.
So this is Roy Anderson, and you're the housing manager of St. Vincent de Paul. Is
That's
that right?
what they tell me.
Oh, that's what they tell. You don't believe it yet, huh?
Been there a long time.
So tell me, what do you do over there? What does that job entail?
It's quite a lot. St. Vincent de Paul owns and or manages 5 buildings.
Okay.
All different kind of programs. I manage a transitional housing program.
Okay.
We also manage a...
And before you go on,
Yep.
maybe our viewers may not know, but what
Sure.
is transitional housing?
So transitional housing is there for folks that are homeless at the moment.
Okay.
And it's a 2-year program. There is a participation fee that's involved. It's there to emulate permanent housing.
Okay.
So we're working with folks that haven't necessarily had housing for quite a while,
Okay,
and
yeah.
it's just that's a difficult jump to go from living on the streets to living in an apartment and trying to be successful. So we're the
Absolutely.
go-between
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
There is a chore that each tenant has to do, just as you would in your own home. Again, there's rent to be paid. There's there's a few shelter rules. There's no guests involved, and that's for the protection of the families and the children up there. And then we also manage a HUD senior living building
Okay.
for folks that are 65 and over. And then we have 3 buildings throughout Juneau, permanent buildings. They're actually LIHTC buildings, and that's an acronym for low income tax credit.
Oh, okay.
There's income restrictions to be able to to live in these buildings.
Okay. So now, is this permanent housing or is this temporary housing?
The 3 buildings I just spoke of are all permanent housing, leased units, permanent housing.
Okay.
Most people have heard of them. Tell us.
Well, yeah, we have 2 buildings downtown, Channelview and Strasbaugh, which are both up Juneau Avenue.
Okay.
If you're looking out the front door of the library, just look straight up. It's the big yellow building on the house.
Oh, okay,
On the
yes.
hill.
You do know
I do
that
know
everyone
it.
knows these buildings. They're right there.
Gorgeous view from that place. Yeah.
One of the best views in Juneau.
Right.
Yeah, one of the best views
My
in Juneau.
gosh.
And we also own a complex in Douglas called Hillview. Our senior housing is called Smith Hall. That is
Okay.
in the valley,
Okay.
as well as our transitional shelters in the valley.
These are all legacies of Dan Austin, who passed away, several years ago. And he
Okay.
was the, Saint Dan. He built all of this low-income housing when Juneau had none. And
Yeah,
for
he was
25 years, he made sure that St. Vincent Paul St. Vincent Paul invested and built low-income housing in Juneau because there really wasn't any. And so he made sure that Juneau had low-income housing. So this is like, how many units is there? Like 300 or so? I mean, or what's the total number of units that you manage?
Close,
Yeah.
103.
Okay, but no, it's a lot. It's a lot of units. It's a lot of units.
Yeah, and it's interesting that St. Vincent de Paul of Juneau is one of the few St. Vincent de Paul that we do housing. A lot of the St. Vincent de Pauls are just thrift stores and direct aid. But because of Dan Austin and his vision, he created low-income housing for the folks in need of Juneau.
Yeah, and there's a great need for that, I'm sure. I mean,
There is.
Is there still a continuing need for that? I mean,
Well, Yes, there's no doubt there's a continuing.
Yeah.
Did you have?
How long is your waiting list? I mean, that's always the to get into these.
Well, yeah, over a year is. A
oh my
waiting list
goodness.
for-
Where are
for-
people staying for that year?
Well, we do have different levels of housing in Juneau.
Yeah.
We have emergency shelter.
Okay.
The Glory Hall, which is actually right next door to St. Vincent de Paul.
Okay.
We have transitional housing. There's several transitional. Aware runs a transitional housing for their patrons.
Okay.
GHS has some transitional housing. Of course, there's reentry programs in town for folks that are getting out of jail or prison. So there's different levels of
help.
housing. Yeah,
Okay.
but there's still a need. There's just not enough units. I say no to people a lot more than I say yes, and that's difficult. As a housing manager for St. Vincent de Paul, my job is not to evict people and collect rent on. My job is to try to keep people housed.
Right.
And yes, there's definitely a need for more housing for our vulnerable people in Juneau.
So I remember, I think these are the buildings that are above the condos in Douglas. You said, what is
we have Hillview. It's
Hillview?
Yeah, it's Crow Hill.
Yes, Crow Hill.
Yeah.
I remember when those were being built, and I was a realtor, and there was a big fuss. We're like, oh my goodness, they're gonna mess up the the rental market, and they're gonna flood the market with too many rentals, and that did not happen at all. Those were built, and then there was a continuing need for housing just in general.
Yes.
I mean, even as a realtor, I have people who are in hotels that are desperate for anything.
That's actually in Juneau during our COVID crisis has been used for housing as well.
Really?
Is our local hotels.
Wow.
Yeah, for the folks on the street. Especially if you come into close contact, that's where a lot of the city is putting our folks.
Yeah.
Hotel living to quarantine.
So the reason Roy's here as a guest today is that Roy is debuting his show following your show next. Is that
Congratulations.
And on almost no notice, he got
2 days,
he got an email
maybe
from
3
me
days.
several days ago saying, we're doing a new show and you're going to be a host for Juneau Sleeps. Which leads into Juneau Eats, which I debuted 2 weeks ago, and Juneau Sleeps is focusing on the path from shelter to your new home, which is your show. And so his show is going to focus on where you can find shelter, including the emergency shelters, which he just talked about, to finding supported housing, which could be where he talked about the low-income housing units, but leading on the path to getting into actual housing. And so we're going to look for the programs he talked about. He just talked about, their paths like Family Promise and the reentry programs and things that get people on there. And there are success stories in town of people getting from homelessness to getting all the way into buying homes. And it is possible to do that in this town. This is a very expensive place to live. We all know that in here, but it is possible to work your way through the system and get there.
In all reality, our goal would be to transition somebody from the streets to a relationship with somebody like you.
Right, and that was Dan's goal. Dan Austin's goal was housing first, and we have a facility called that. But there was earlier programs is that you cannot get somebody off the street until you get them into a house. You can't get somebody who's on drugs or alcohol or whatever if they're not into some sort of home.
Very difficult to hold a job without being
right.
indoors.
So there you have to get them into housing, and you have to get them off the street, and so you have to get them shelter, and then you have to work on getting their other issues solved. And so it is the American dream. It is the dream of anybody in any culture to have a place to live and to somehow own your own piece of property. And so that is the continuum, which is why these shows are all lined up this way on the Juneau Live Network, is to have the set of shows of going from you have the real estate show connected to the Juneau Sleep Show and the Juneau Eat Show.
Well, not only do I think it's an American dream, I think it's a human right.
It is.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is, and which is why the church is sponsoring this network, and so which is why the church, we're going to be talking next on Roy's show. We're going to be talking about the church, offering up to do the warming shelter, which is kind of why I realized we were thinking about doing the show. Why we need to start it now is to talk about the church's proposal to do the warming shelter, which is not something we were planning on doing or dying to do, but we're doing that next.
That's a good example of we just don't have enough housing in Juneau. If we had enough housing in Juneau, we wouldn't have the need for a cold weather
warming
center in the winter.
Shelter. So we'll talk about that on Roy's show, and you're going to be a guest on Roy's show to talk about the path of getting there. But the idea is we're going to be trying to combine shows when we can to talk about the Juneau Eat Show. We'll combine with Roy's show to talk about like the Glory Hall. Gets food from the food pantries and the food bank to feed people at the Glory Hall, besides providing emergency services. So we're going to try to, the whole network of social services. Juneau's very unique in the fact that we can combine all these services.
Yes.
I know Roy because actually I hired Roy away when I was the manager of St. Vincent de Paul. I hired him away from Clara's house, where he was actually in charge of employment there and getting people employed.
Yeah, so if you hear
Clara's
me call Bradley Old Boss, that's the backstory to that.
Yeah, it was a number of years ago, and he had done so much there, and it was time for him to find a new challenge. And boy, I put him into a new challenge, doing housing in St. Vincent de Paul, which is really one of the largest of the housing providers in Juneau, and he's had plenty of challenges doing that. So
I bet you have.
But I thought it was a good chance for him to get introduced here, and then he gets now hosts his own show, which he's like, oh my gosh. So he's going to be getting a co-host. The person we want for that job is out of town, doesn't really know that we've picked him as the co-host. We'll find out when he gets back. When he gets back in there, and we're hoping he's in charge of running one of the biggest apartment complexes in town. And so we'll see whether he agrees to sign up to do that job. And then we'll talk about this whole continuum of housing in town and all that. And so I can just see there's a lot of possibilities for doing all that. So thanks for joining us on this show.
Thank you for having me on
and,
your
and,
show.
and thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us next on Roy's show, talking about
I'll be there.
the continuum. So.
Well, thank you both for being on here. I think this was a fantastic show.
Awesome.
Love your energy, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks for Juneau's Open House. This is Erica Lee signing off. And remember, everybody, friends, don't let friends rent.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thanks, guys.